a lot of my because they do it well. In high school law, we won like a star chamber. Yeah. Like a couple of the government and time to kill. Yeah. That's like. Yeah, they deserve to die. I hope they burn in hell. I always love when people edit that. They always have like to like Sandra Bullock. Yeah. They always like end it like you win that argument. She basically like tells them like go in and like experience an execution. Oh, right.
No, not that one.
So, I am so subbing.
Gotta change the camera.
Oh no!
I'm trying to get it so that we have Thai full screen.
I've never seen a YouTube channel like that. You don't want to be there. You don't watch your own stuff. While we're getting started, does anybody have any specific 40K questions that they want me to address or anything? I mean, what's the dollar number? And I transcended it before buying a single figurine. That's the problem. All the books. Oh my God! What the F show? And I'm getting just wrecked because of how they do their limited edition releases now, where they don't give Americans access to them. So Tech will always send me a link, and then I click on it. I'm like, this is for Finland. I click on the American thing. It's like out of stock. I wish I took advantage of the Black Library.
Let's press home.
They do it like every 6 months. Is that safe for the first time?
Doc,
click on show password.
I don't remember which one I used. I don't remember which one I used for this one.
Oh,
Not a big deal. I don't need to do that. Like, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. I don't need to do that.
say the password. Do it. I dare you. Be brave.
This ain't my laptop. I don't care. I don't care. Where is
I got more guts and glory. How far gone do letting us have to go for the they're already there. They're totally there. But they're just
yeah.
But one of my favorite chapters is heretical.
Is that? No, that's not it.
You ever read their stuff?
That's not it. Which one was it?
Soldiers are there's an omnibus. I think there's a second omnibus for them. And
Why did I
they
say
wear
that
purple. But anyway, they are allegedly sons of the one. Oh. But they drink like the blood of their enemies, and it triggers their sort of like when the other space marines eat flesh, they pick up muscle memory and stuff like that. But they get kind of suckered in by a greater demon who mutates all of them. So they're loyal. They're loyalists. But they're hunted down by the Inquisition, and their chapter masters suck them in librarians. They're cool, man. I wanted to have the lenses of my angels be like this colorful murderous magenta. Yeah. I just couldn't get enough of a contrast between the red and it, so I have to go skyward. But it's awesome. It's just what I paint my seals. Aren't blood angels typically blonde? They're redheads too. So you made a blonde hair blue. No. I don't with the lens, just the lenses. Just saying, that's not a good idea. Just the lenses. Just the lenses on the helmet. Yeah. Keep excuses work for a while. Yeah. Do they wear armbands? Instead of bow, it's just a
Oh, maybe some applications.
Oh. The dreadnought. Librarian comes in and he's losing faith. Oh,
I found it.
Librarian dreadnought comes in, it's just like a king of Warhammer. Okay, we got it. Built a wall.
So one tie actually does join us. Let's look. Yeah, you can just start. It looks like that. So I always think that
of 40K. Eisenhorn is an Inquisitor. The penultimate RPG class for like a pen and paper RPG, because they get to explore, they get a lot of latitude in what they do, and they're very independent. Whereas a Space Marine, you know, you're part of a unit and you kind of go. So it's like a nice RPG take on the entire universe, and you get exposed to a lot of it very quickly. But this was the expansion of the Black Library was the first prong of what I consider their attack on marketing that they really were doing to recover the company. Because it did still have a strong hobby base, right? People were still playing 40K. They liked it, but they were having the trouble that a lot of hobbies had as video games became better and better, is people stopped engaging in them because they went to this thing that's very interactive that makes a fortune. And that's the oh god, that's creepy. That's the video game industry. And so they're trying to get people into this thing where you have to find another person and interact with them for like the better part of 2 hours to get a game played, and you also have to invest hundreds of dollars. So the book started up, and they really started getting people interested in 40K, in my opinion, by fleshing out the 30K universe. 40K references the millennium of humanity that we're in. I believe starting with, I think they're on the AD calendar. So that was century 1 and the first millennium. We are now in the 3rd millennium, if anybody's curious. That we've been there for a couple of years. But this would be in the 41st millennium, or the year 40,000. But if you go back 10,000 years, they started fleshing out this thing that had happened in the universe called the Horus Heresy. And this is where the Emperor of Mankind still walked the earth, walked the stars, I guess, and had 20 sons that he created to lead these Space Marines. And it's like an origin story. And they rebooted the entire, I say rebooted, they kickstarted the entire 40K universe for the next generation on Black Library. And then the parallel approach, you'll remember around this time, a little earlier, we had Dawn of War 1. Came around year 2001, 2002, I believe. But then you saw a massive expansion of 40K and old world Warhammer properties cropping up in this 2006 timeline, and then moving on. Warhammer Online was around that, was a little bit before that, I believe. When was Warhammer Online? It's like 2005, 2006, I think. And then we started to see Dawn of War 2 came out. We had Space Marine come out, which is a great first-person shooter. Space Hulk Deathwing. What they did was they started licensing 40K out very inexpensively to a lot of video game companies to just get products out. And they got a lot of really crappy ones out, but they did have some real winners. I strongly recommend getting Space Marine to play if you can. I can't on my computer, to my shame. but yeah, no, I spent like 3 hours on stream trying to get it to work. I wanted to shove nails into my hands. It was, yeah. And all of the Relic games have problems. I don't know if it's because I have like a new video card or what. Yeah. I have a way to play them now. I have to open up my laptop and run it there and stream it to my main PC. Space Marine? Yeah. Well, you also have it digitally through the Windows Store if you have it on your 360, I believe. I think so. Yeah, you'll have to check it out, and then maybe you can... Yeah. Then you can shove your head through the monitor in anger. And then I was like, oh, I'll just play Dawn of War 2. Nope, that's a Relic game too. Thanks, guys. Doesn't run on, well, it runs on my laptop too. That's not helpful.
How old is your computer, by the way?
Brand new. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's a 3950X with 2080 Ti graphics card and 64 gig of RAM. I think it has to do with drivers on the Ti, the 2080 Ti. Yeah, I have a 1080. I have the 1080M in my laptop. Yeah, thanks. Cool. This guy, no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so they kicked off these two fronts and really did kind of bring Warhammer back. And this is going to be a little bit more business focused when Ty was on the line, but he's not. He's not coming, man. He's not coming. So, yeah. Well, busy. I mean, it is a Sunday. He's trying to get Space Marine to run on my computer right now. That's what I trusted him with. But that's it. So I don't know. I guess I could talk about what brought me to the 40K universe, or if you guys have any stories, because this the panel has kind of changed dramatically over the past 15 minutes. Oh no. Why don't you have your question first, and then you tell your story. Yes, Total War. They're fantastic. Yes. Right, that's the stepchild. Mm-hmm. And they also have Titanicus, which is, I think that's still in early access. But I heard that's kind of a dumpster, so I don't know. But before I knew what 40K was, actually my uncle, and Ty's very good friend, bought me Titan Legions, the old Epic set. So I had I had an Imperator Titan and 2 Orc Gargants and Knights, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Yeah, and I don't have them anymore. They're gone now, which is sad. But so that was actually the first Warhammer minis, and I went into like a games workshop, or not a games workshop. It was a place called Phoenix Games as a kid, and I'm like, how do I play this? And like, what do you have? I'm like, an Imperator Titan. They're like, oh, well, you need to have some points for that. What does that even mean? They didn't explain anything, and they just laughed at me. It was. I think it was a chain. There were a bunch of them, so it was probably the same company, and they all went out of business just in embarrassing fashion. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad they shed the horrific curse of Phoenix Games. I used to ride a bike to this place. It was miles away. My kids can't even ride a bike a mile. No. Whoa, not a kilometer maybe. What? Yeah. Mm. That's the rite of passage, right? Is hitting something and launching yourself forward into a thorn bush or something terrible. Oh. Yeah. See, that's 40K in a nutshell. In 40K, there's a guy assigned to that job by the Imperium. He has to do that every day. Like he. That's where it all began. Sure. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So that's an interesting way to kind of go back into 40K. It started with this game called Rogue Trader, and I think a novel called Space Marine, and and also wasn't it Chainsword or something? Chainsaw Warrior or something was like another sort of spin-off, and they like meshed all these things together and came up with this weird universe where things existed. I think the Chainsaw Warrior was it was like the advent of chainswords and how they got incorporated into it, but they like had little bits and pieces in their past that they then have been building on for years and years, and that's one of the things that has been so intriguing about reading through the books and exploring the universe is they have all of this stuff, and how their canon develops is they release the war game texts, and those have supporting lore stories in them, and then they get fleshed out in the fiction, and then they'll have like something mentioned. They didn't plan, because like 20 years ago there's this footnote that talked about some planet, and then later they're like, oh yeah, we can bring that up and sell $1,000 army from it. It's a great business model. It's beautiful. but yeah, so I guess kind of going back to I don't know, where do we want to? Oh, you had a story. I forgot. No, is it a Warhammer story? That sounds like a no. Yeah, that's a no. You don't have a Warhammer story? Yeah, then, well.
Because I only played Warhammer one time, and it blew up my computer.
What game?
The first Warhammer.
Dawn of War? That one? That one's good. That's a good game.
It was so good. Have
any of you guys played Dawn of War 1? Did you? Dark Crusade. That was, oh man. I don't like stories. Not in my video games. Get your filthy stories out of my video games. Yeah. Yeah. I am the worst Dawn of War 2 multiplayer player ever. I challenge you to find someone who I can beat. Like, you could put my dad on the other side and I'd beat him. Or he'd beat me. No. Oh. I don't even know what a macro is. I mean, I know what a macro is, but not in Dawn of War. I have no idea how to make them. Yes.
And it's so it's like we beat that a couple times. Like it's pretty hard. And it's funny because you have like some builds.
I beat Last Stand on Twitch in Florida, just over Christmas break. What'd you play? What was your do? But what was your loadout? I mean, come on. The bolter? What kind of heretic are you? A space marine who runs. I'm. Yeah. No, I always had the shield, the riot shield thing, a storm shield. Let's get it proper. The storm shield, lightning claw, and the crushing blow armor, I believe, is what it was. And you would the best part, and then the leadership thing, where every time you hit, it would heal up you and nearby allies, because when you hit with the lightning claw, it does a damage over time effect, and that cheeses and keeps healing you every tick. And your allies. It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, Keck and I started a multiplayer campaign. He just kept making fun of me, so I cut him out of my life. Mm-hmm. I never played it. Was there crafting in it? Oh. Right. Oh, because you got too powerful and you would go through and just kill everybody? Yeah, that's a terrible plan. They should use that horrible Final Fantasy system. Yeah, well, Final Fantasy does the thing where they like de-level you temporarily. I don't like that. I want it to be punishing. I grew up in the age of punishing MMOs, like EverQuest. No, I don't like that, because I will die all the time. No, I just like the de-leveling that you would get on EverQuest. If you died too much, you would have to go back. This isn't Warhammer related. What are we doing here? It's your fault. You brought up MMOs. Anyway, where do we begin? Halfway through the panel, where do we begin? Actually, we're coming towards the end of the panel. So where do we end? Not yet. We've got like 10 minutes left, but yeah, if you're looking to get into Warhammer, because again, I never know who's engaged in this universe or anything. If you're looking to get into it, the best places are really the Dawn of War series of games. If you like strategy games on computers, they're great. They're cheap. You can get them on Steam for like $10 for the full collections of everything. In the books, find a book by Dan Abnett and start reading there. Like, it doesn't matter which one you do. They all introduce you enough. He's good enough at bringing you into the universe. But the starting points I would pick are either Horus Rising. That's the beginning of the Horus Heresy. And maybe we'll close out by, I'll talk a little bit about the Horus Heresy some more. But Horus Rising is great. Eisenhorn is great because, like I said, the Inquisitor sort of lifestyle. The three books are titled Xenos, Malleus, and Hereticus, which are the three houses of the Inquisition. Xenos deals with aliens. They want to build that wall. Malleus deals with demons and the warp and chaos. So they get to hang out with Grey Knights and Sisters of Silence. And then Hereticus deals with, obviously, heretics who we don't want anywhere near us at any point. And the best part about being an Inquisitor is a heretic is who you say they are. So you get to burn them at the stake just because. Like the guy doesn't make your sandwich right, he's a heretic. No brisket on a poutine, heretic. So that's how it goes. And because of that, it's his progression through the 3 different inquisitorial wings, and so you get exposed to a lot of it. But then the other starting place I love is actually a series. It was a 12-book series called The Beast Saga, and that was between the Horus Heresy and current day 40K. And then it was between there, and it was the first major threat to humanity since the Horus Heresy, and that was the incursion of the orcs. And orcs are really funny in 40K. If you don't know anything about orcs in 40K, they are not your Lord of the Ring orc. They have this latent psychic power, and the more of them that are together, the stronger that gets. To the point where their weapons don't have like firing pins in them. They just work because they believe they'll work. And if you paint a truck red, it goes faster because orcs believe things that are red go faster. So they do. It's great. And I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you're into video games, they do have an orc flight sim coming out. It is an orc plane shooter. So. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think that's probably what they're modeling the new game on. But starting in any of those places is great. You get again, they introduce you to the basic elements of the universe, and they're all, as long as you pick a starting point somewhere, you're in good hands. But I guess real quick, what really brought me in was the Horus Heresy series, and it's this retelling of an old English book called Paradise Lost. If you've never heard of it, that's the story of the simultaneous story of Lucifer's fall from grace from God and man's fall from grace in the Garden of Eden. And this is how you would tell that story in a gothic far future where there's nothing but war and bloodshed. And so the emperor is this godlike figure who insists that there is no supernatural phenomena at all. There is no religion. There is nothing but science. Despite being able to manifest these like fantastic psychic powers and being effectively immortal, he has. Hey, what's up, big guy? Nice hat. I like it. I can't wait till you put the rest of the outfit on. But yeah, it's the so they have this emperor, and he creates these 20 sons, 20 primarchs, and they become like the general of each legion. The idea is he's going back out into the stars to reunite humanity under his benevolent rule. And his benevolent rule is a terrifying, horrific theocracy. Even though it was not a theocracy of atheism, so to speak, and faith in him and science, and it was absolutely despotic. And that's really the best part of the Warhammer universe, is that every single faction is terrible. They're all bad. There is no good guy. If you think there's a good guy, you should get psychiatric care. And depending on who you root for, you might want that as well. But to sum it up, the objectively best moral good race spawned a demonic entity into being by we'll say hate copulating each other to death. So to put that into relatively appropriate words. So that's those are the best people in the entire thing. So if you are looking to get into 40K and want to really in-depth talk about it, feel free to talk to me. I'm happy to help out where I can and tell you, like what my opinions are. But so Arch Warhammer's great. Yeah, Arch. Lutein09 is, there are no, I don't care. There are no better lore videos on Warhammer stuff than Lutein09. Have you never watched his? Oh man, they're fantastic. And of course you can go to 40K Theories, but that's a little bit more, you need to have a base knowledge to get into 40K Theories. Although he has a newcomers series. I haven't listened to that though, because what am I, some sort of noob? No. Yeah, that's an Abnett book too. I have the collector's edition. What's up? Hyper violent, right? They have kids books. Yeah. Right. Certainly not a la Marvel. Let's be very clear. I don't. Games Workshop has been under intense social scrutiny for several years now, and they have not capitulated. They're people who want female Space Marines. They don't care that there's an all-female army. They want female Space Marines, and there's been consistently throughout its existence this idea that wasn't part of the Emperor's design and wouldn't have worked. I think there's actually a joke between Malkador and the Emperor in one of the audio dramas where Malkador's like, you should have made a female Primarch, and he's like, I tried and I couldn't do it. So they had to be men. So that's part of the lore, and they have not walked that back yet. Despite there being, there are 2 missing Primarchs, and it's very possible that they could try and ham fist a female Primarch and then a female army into that. They haven't. So I'm saying they have the ability to, and they haven't. But I do think it is a mild virtue signal. But I'm tempted to buy them because I'm pretty sure one of them is a hive city that's being completely annihilated by Tyranids, and it's like a group of Warhammer kids that need to escape before they all get murdered. So I don't know. It's like a happy theme of Grimdark. Like all of their families have been eaten or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. What I do know is that there are some places out there that are very much on the social justice sort of side of it that have been pressuring Games Workshop for years. One of them is Spiky Bits. They're a Warhammer blog, and when you read, they're in that push for inclusivity. It's like, how much more inclusive do you want to be? Like we have space communists. We have they have literally whatever you want is somewhere in the 40K universe, and you can make an army. If you really wanted to, you could make a female Space Marine army. No one's going to stop you, but it's just not canon to the lore. So I don't know. They've resisted it for a while though. I have noticed a few more, I guess, female protagonists in the books, but they always tend to be pretty interesting characters. So I don't have a problem with it. But it doesn't seem to be a concerted push either. So I don't know. So far they're holding out, but the Reaper is coming for Games Workshop. Absolutely. Yes, the Reaper that is social justice, that sweeps through all major escapist activities, is coming for Games Workshop and has been for a long time. They'll get. What we were talking earlier.
DC and Warhammer 20K about to be linked into the LGBT, aka the SJW.
Well, that's it's Marvel. Marvel has picked up the Warhammer comic license. So they're going to be producing Warhammer comics. So the question will be, the interesting thing about Games Workshop is, I mentioned that they licensed out their property to a whole bunch of people, but the one thing that they did is they kept fierce grips on the lore. Dawn of War 1, they approved every story element in the game, and they approved every story element in the expansion. Same with Dawn of War 2. And they've done that all the way through, indie projects like Man of War Corsair. They preserve the lore of the universe very, very well. So the question will be, does Marvel's big flex have the impact that no one else has been able to have? Will it get them to surrender control of their IP? I don't think it will. I think Games Workshop knows the risk they're running, and they know their audience is tired of this stuff. So we'll see. And again, the beautiful thing about role-playing games is it's just a rule set, and you don't have to force your agenda into the rule set for the rule set to apply to literally whatever you want it to be. If you want to make, like I said, if you want to make a female Space Marine army, you have the rules for Space Marines. Just get some Lego hair and slap it on there. I mean, that's up to you. So exactly. Exactly. No, you get to force the DM to do stuff that's uncomfortable too. Never let a DM run. The DMs are terrible people. Never let them run your game. No. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. Sorry, the business. There more questions? No, hi. I am? No, I'm not. It's over. My voice is, hello, Discord. Hi.
Can I get a free pass on your Discord?
No. Sorry. If I gave you a free pass, I'd have to give everybody free passes. No. This isn't communism. Sorry. If you do that, you get kicked out. Yeah, and I don't even do it. Like, it does it for me. Well, yeah, you get five. If you pay $5 once, you get in. But if you don't pay the next month, it'll kick you out. So, it's but that's just how Discord and Patreon are integrated like that. But yeah.
Either chill or just be next favorite guy.
You'd have to chill, cause it's a chill stream. I've never. That's what I'm saying. You just have to be chill. That's the trick. Cause I've never lost my temper before in my life. So, were there any final questions before we? Then you. Yeah. It was safe. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, with no Black Rage. Yeah. Right. Yeah. What was your question? Sure. Just multiplayer in Space Marine. Because unlike him, I don't run away when I'm playing a Space Marine. Yeah, the Space Marine was this great first-person shooter PvP, and but it was also, you had melee weapons because it's 40k. So I always wielded a Thunderhammer and had a jump pack, and would go and just kill all their snipers while they were zoomed in. It was beautiful. It's just beautiful. But we are done. I'm getting kicked out. What? Yeah. No, I'm good. Get out. Leave or stay for the next one. What? I think it's over.